Yo, what's up? My name is Original God. Shout out Midnight Society. Shout out Smoothie. Shout out Anime. Shout out Lil Narnia. Shout out anyone who voted blue. Shout out Mario Sunshine. What's up, guys? So how to get the name? I guess Original God. It's kind of a long story, but it's probably not what you think. It's pretty simple, actually. It comes from the fact that I thought OG stood for Original God, and when I was doing, I grew up in the church, so I went on a lot of I wouldn't say mission trips per se, but it was more so going out and we went to Africa, we built a well, went to Mexico, we helped at an orphanage, and there was a kid I remember with a shirt that just said OG on it, and this kid actually I ended up sponsoring for him to be able to go to school, and he just pulled up on me one time and he had this huge smile on his face and bro, this kid grew up in an orphanage, have you know all his parents got literally murdered by cartel, it was it was a lot of intense ass shit, and just the fact that he was there smiling and with the OG on it, it kind of just made me think I really thought it was Original God, and kind of just set this image in my mind of what does it mean to be a god, what does it mean to sort of I don't know, it's sort of the fact of I feel corny saying it, but being the god of your own universe and being able to create your own happiness, the fact that he was a god, the fact that he was able to smile through all that shit, Original God's not oh, I'm Original God, you're Original God, everyone's fucking Original God, it's just the fact of doing shit to make you happy and not caring what other people say, and it's OG. So I grew up in Philly. This is actually my first time back on the East Coast since I was going to Comic-Con and shit as a kid. Pretty good, pretty cold though. Shout out Internet Hippy, had us hit the chopped cheese. That shit was hard. Fuck with that. But yeah, I grew up in Philly. Went to Hawaii for high school. I studied abroad in Japan a year. So I've been all over. I went to college for a little bit at Cal Poly and switched out because that shit was ass. But yeah, now I'm back in California and just yeah, I guess growing up in Philly is very different, especially with Hawaii. But I think it's good to sort of have different perspectives on different areas and sort of meeting different kinds of people. I think it really helps give sort of a balance to who you are and your morality. Shout out Midnight Society for real. Damn, it's kind of crazy. The first show I ever did was we had KP on it, Cold World Gang, Zila was there, Young Bitch. There's a lot of people that weren't even in Midnight. Midnight didn't even exist back then. This was 2014. Have you mind and just so many people ended up joining the same collective, and they were all people that I looked up to or were really close with, and so it kind of all started with the Virus and Antidote. He was a co-founder. Hit him up. I hit up the Virus to, I wanted a free beat because back then when I first started out on SoundCloud, I did not know shit, dude. I was hitting up everyone yo, let's collab, bro. Let me bro, what's good? Let's I was one of those dudes. So my bad if I hit you like that back in the day, but yeah, I hit up the Virus. I was trying to get this free beat, and we ended up just talking, and he was telling me about I got this new collective called Midnight Society. Made it with Kamiyata. Sent me some of his music, and I heard that shit, and I was yo, this dude goes hard. Yeah, we just started talking, invited me to the group. There's only a few people at the time. It was Kel, Skrilla, Kreslik, and then eventually more people started joining, and a lot of them were a lot of the artists I really looked up to and were friends with. So fuck it, Trippy the Kid, a lot of the first people I ever followed on SoundCloud. So it was kind of crazy, and just it was 2015 was the first time we ever actually met, and that was when shout out Odd Pike. He was just this dude I was friends with online, and he had a song with Bambi. I heard that shit, and when I heard Bambi's voice, I was I need to do a song with this dude. So I got this song with a Japanese rapper, KP, Bambi, called Dragon Slayer. Shout out Berserk. And after that, Bambi was we need to link, and so this was the first time anyone in Midnight ever met up. We did a show and shit, and we just hit it off so well. Kami, Bambi, Sake, Dutchman. I'm trying to think who else was there. Johnny G, KP pulled up later. Zila, obviously. Shout out Zila. And yeah, dude, we just all hit it off, and it was kind of a family reunion almost. And it was weird because we only knew each other online, but it's just been history since then. We just kept meeting up, kept hanging out, and just been best friends, a family. Midnight Society. I've been watching anime forever, ever since I can remember. Even when I was spending some time in Chile with my family, they had anime on TV all the time. So I was even watching some trash shit Naruto, Bleach, like all that. Like I know you fuck with that shit, but like
I don't fuck with Naruto.
The shonen shit, like that's what I was like watching growing up. Like when Naruto hit the sexy jutsu in the manga, I saw that shit. I was like, bro, I gotta cop more manga. And like Death Note, I think Death Note was really like the first series that I really like sat down and read all the way through and was like, this is hard. And like ever since then, I've just been like really going for like, I don't know. It's weird because anime is really just a medium of art. Like it's like movies, books, or anything. Like anime and manga is just a medium, but like I feel like there's something else about it. Like I feel like because it's so niche, like, at least like at the time, like it just like really made this like kind of tight knit community. And like anime is weird because like I'll watch anything as long as it's written well. So like I'll be watching like some shoujo shows, like romance, like shows about like kids in high school learning how to play the saxophone. Like I'll watch anything if it's written well. And I feel like there's not a lot of other like mediums of art where it's like you sort of like kind of like dabble in like every kind of genre, you know. And so I feel like anime is just like a lot of the lessons from the shows and themes like have really helped me in my own life. Like it's not just like, oh, like I love watching anime. Like anime is like a huge part of my life, and I'm always gonna be thankful for that. So I guess like even when I first started making music, like 2014, 2015, like I was doing some like screamo shit in the background, and like people were not having it. People did not like it at first, and I feel like a lot of that came from my parents. Like the first ever concert I ever went to, because I grew up in the church, so like I went to a Christian music festival and they had a Devil Wears Prada, and they were a Christian band at the time, and so I went and saw them, and like just the energy they had on stage, the mosh pit, that was like the first band he ever had. Like I was in elementary school when this happened, and like I just like I fell in love, and like I just love that kind of music. I started listening to a lot of, it was like Asking Alexandria, Bring Me the Horizon, Pierce the Veil, like all the big like bands back then. And so like I just really got into that scene, and I was totally like a scene kid back then. Like my girlfriend was on her like Raw XD shit, but like you know how it was. But like yeah, those are the days I really fuck with that kind of music, and like that's just always been a huge influence on me. And so I kind of like wanted to bring that to the underground scene, because like what got me into the underground was more like young, lean, like the kind of like sad boy sound. And so I kind of wanted to like sort of show like the influence of the music I grew up listening to in that. And so I kind of always like wanted, not, it wasn't always because it was only recently I started using actual like metal and like pop punk instrumentals, like shout out Moog, shout out Surfer It Is, like all that's kind of new. But I've always kind of had that sound, even with like just like trap beats and shit, like even on like Virus, like Midnight Beats. Like I feel like that we kind of all had that sound where like we wanted to create that same energy but with like a new environment. Fuck anyone that reported it, fuck the alt-right, honestly, but you know how it is. Like the album, I really don't want to go out and say exactly how I came up with the name. Like, obviously, I have my own thoughts and opinions on this, but I really want my audience to, like, I feel like that's one of the biggest messages for my music, is to think for yourself and keep an open mind. And so just listen to the project, and sort of the title of the album is just a lens to be looking through. That isn't my permanent statement, obviously, but there's definitely some truth in that, and I think you gotta listen to the album and sort of see where I was going with it. So it was weird. I personally, I wouldn't say this is one of my best projects, but I think it's a project I needed to release. And for this one, I wanted to work with just like my really good friends. And so the only features on it are this fool, Kamiata. And for the producers, it was all like people I've used on previous projects that I'm really close with. So like SK, Bella, Mokes, Kreslik. And then it was funny because Hush and Silence is actually on this project. And how I got him on the production is he made an original God type beat, and I heard it and I was like, yo, this slaps. And so I hit him up, I'm like, I'm totally gonna use this, like, is that cool? And he was like, he was stoked, dude. So shout out Hush and Silence, because that was like the only new producer I had. Oh, and Servatis, but we've been talking for a while, and like I really fuck with him. So a lot of people know this, but I am very, very picky about the beats I use. And it's not like, I always feel bad because people send me shit and like it's good, but just because it's good doesn't mean like it's something that I want to use or matches my sound. And so a lot of times that's why I like working with friends, because we're able to sort of like create the exact sound we both want. And so I'm just very picky, so like people will send me beats and I have to go through like 500 before I find like one I like. So I think I personally like working with people like in person better. Yeah, so music videos are kind of new for me, and I love music videos. I love watching music videos. I love being able, because film to me is like, film is probably the biggest thing. I think that's probably what I want to go to, and after music is start doing more film stuff. And so I think it's really important to like have a videographer that sort of can match your energy and like It's really hard because there's so many different processes too. It's not just who films it, it's who edits it, it's the music too. There's like a lot of different elements to it. And so I feel like I was really hesitant to like put out a music video, especially because for a while I didn't even show my face. Like when I was making music in high school, like I didn't want anyone to know who I was, so like I only used anime pictures. Like I didn't like tell anyone I made music, and so I was like really hesitant to sort of like put my face out there. I was in Japan, my homie Nathan, shout out Tokyo Sin, shout out Tokyo Gang, like he hit me up, he had his homie come through, Big Key, and like we did the video for Kizumonogatari, which was on my I Died in Tokyo album. And like we went to Akihabara, which if you know is like anime city, and like we just pulled up and the energy was just there, and like we just sort of like went with it. Like we didn't even have like speakers, we were just playing the song with the phone. So like in that video we're literally like screaming the lyrics in Japan, and like people were coming up to us like taking pictures with us because like bro, like who are these kids, like what are they on? And so like after that and just like seeing the feedback, I guess, and the fact that like people really liked it, especially because it's like a super like niche anime, like the Monogatari series, and so I feel like being able to make a song about that and like sort of the emotions behind it, where it's just like I don't know, it was just a really fun video to make. And after that I was like, I want to make more videos. So the homie Steven Jets comes through, we do that Tell Me Why video.
The Jets way.
Yeah, so the Steven Jets way. Steven Jets is a character. I love that kid. And so like when we made that video, like we went hiking one day, it was like Braxton, like Maxwell as far and Forest, like Dalton obviously, like ZT on the beat. We just all pulled up, and like it was just a good ass day. We filmed everything, and so like a lot of that video was like we did not plan any of that. That was just like us hanging out, having a good time, and like it was kind of crazy. So I kind of like that energy. And I want to do more videos that I've been storyboarding some stuff in short films, and so I kind of want to start doing more things that I put time in, like thinking exactly how I want to structure it. But I think that sort of like genuine in the moment feel also kind of matches my music as well. So I Died in Tokyo. That was a big project for me, and that's one of my personal favorites because like it means a lot, and that there's a long story behind the album name, very personal, and I don't know. It was right after I did the show in Tokyo, and that show meant a lot to me. I'm so thankful for like Nathan and my friend Strong, who really like helped put that together, because that really changed my perspective on everything. Sort of like having people in another country like sing my words to me, and like my girlfriend broke up with me that day, and like I was gonna fly home, dude. I was like, it's wraps. Like I was gonna go back, and then like my homie Adam was like, dude, you original God, and I was like, shit. And so I just like literally walked out the door, just did that show, best show I ever did, and like just everyone showed me so much love, and like I really sort of like realized like I need to start loving who I am, and like I can't be on this like trying to kill myself shit anymore, because like that's been what's like destroyed my relationships with people. And so like yeah, I mean obviously there's a bit more than that, but like the album came together, and like that project was just like that meant a lot to me, and like the sounds I created with that, I think that was the first time I was able to sort of make the music I've always wanted to, because I didn't always have like the skills to do so, or even just like the software. And like my homie Mokes, like he mastered that whole project, and like he killed it, dude. And so yeah, bring the mood down, I guess. But yeah, I think a very other big message in my music is definitely anti-suicide, I don't want to say anti-depression, because there's no cure for depression permanently. Like it sucks, but like there's been a lot of like ways, I guess, to numb the pain that I was just like doing, and I just realized like this is like destroying me, this is destroying my body. Like I was just like, there's nothing I could do to make me happy, I guess. And like it wasn't until I realized that like life is always gonna hurt, that like I was able to sort of get out of this mindset that's like for so long I was like pushed so down, like just like a bunch of like trauma and shit, and like letting shit from the past like get to you and defining who you are. Like don't do that shit, like straight up. Like you need to like be happy with who you are, be comfortable with yourself, because it's the only body you're gonna get. So like love it. And like I feel like yeah, it's just something, it's hard to talk about because it's something that everyone deals with, and everyone's sort of scared to talk about their issues. And I think it's like, and it's hard even with therapy. Like it's really hard to open up to someone, and so I really want to be a figure that's there for anyone, no matter what. I feel like everyone's always like, oh look, I'm always there for you, bro, but there's not always someone there for you. And so I want to like be that person for people, like no matter what, like just one message away, like you can send to me. And so like you saw earlier, like there's a lot of times where like I have to like talk people out of shit, but like it's good, it's better safe than sorry. And like honestly, like you're a dick if you would ignore someone that's crying for help. I mean, music has not been my dream, but like I've accomplished so many of my dreams through music. Like, music has been so good to me, and like all the people I've met through it have just been like amazing human beings, amazing souls. And so like I keep doing it because I love the opportunities it brings me. I love being able to like put out a message, to create art. Like, it's kind of crazy that like we're literally able to create anything we want. We can record anything and just like drop it on there. We can like create any kinds of sound. Like, the way that technology is rising in like people's minds and shit, like it's really different. And so I just really like being able to create. And so I don't know when I'm gonna stop, if I'm gonna stop, but in 11 years, I mean, depending on how music goes, that could be a part of it. But honestly, 11 years, I'm gonna probably be in Japan. I'm gonna have a Shiba. I'm gonna have a cat. I'm gonna have the most beautiful wife in the world, and I'm gonna be eating good. I'm gonna probably be cooking some really good shit too. I really like cooking. I like making smoothies. Shout out Internet Hippy, put me on this. This is the protein shake one. We got the berries, avocado in it. Like, yo, you're asleep if you don't put avocado in your smoothies. That's the tip of the day.